Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. I am happy you are all joining us. I am Kat, the nurse flipper. I am joined by my co-host Rod, picking and punching. And below me, both these guys have been on before. I have Brad from Black Sheep Society and Leroy, who is lying in his name. He does not hate tools. And I'm going to put this up here because I didn't even realize this. So, Mike, thank you for realizing this. Mike sent me a $50 super chat hours before we started and said happy anniversary. So apparently it was 5 years ago today that I had my first podcast. So I've been doing this every Tuesday. I think we've missed 4 in 5 years, which is like holidays, vacations. It doesn't matter. I've missed 4. So less than 1 Tuesday a year over 5 years. He said, if you saw it, I haven't like erased anybody. He's here's to the next 5. So it's insane. I knew we were getting close to 5 years, but it's kind of cool. It falls on a Tuesday too. And it's exactly the same date. So Mike, thank you so much. I'm going on Mike and Mary's podcast here soon too, which will be
we're going to mess with them back. I just reminded me. We're going to mess with them back.
Bad Rod.
Yes.
All right. Because of this, I'm going to give him the original super chat. This is the first one when I only had one years ago. And it was actually another YouTube content creator. She doesn't make content anymore. She was a reseller content creator named Emily Conway. So this is her voice with sound effects doing the super chat. Just random fact for you guys. So here you go, Mike. Super chat. The first one ever.
It's a dolphin, so I'm happy,
It is a dolphin. Oh, yes, I will get you a cake. Scott's here for the anniversary cake.
Scott, man, I hope glad to see you're doing better, my friend.
Oh, yeah, and I talked to George today, and George seems to be doing good as well. For those of you that might have been wondering, the Antique Nomad, he's been going through cancer treatment, so he and I chatted for a bit today, and we're going to have him on the show coming up soon, too. I scheduled him, so that should be fun as well. So, Scott, I'm gonna give you the whale. I'm not gonna shock people's eyes this early on. Here you go. Listen, I'm going to give this away. I normally don't. I'm not going to like give it away, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. And it's actually perfect. That's the 5-year anniversary. Jaden's gave me a thermal printer to give away to you guys tonight. So we'll be doing that probably midway through the show. So don't go anywhere. Somebody will win a free thermal label printer. No cost to you. But that's perfect. I didn't even see stuff happens the way it's supposed to happen. How cool is that? All right. First question from Miss Susan. She wants to know if any of us have sold on Chairish. She has a lot of higher priced items and she's hesitant. She's disabled and limited, so she tries to keep the profits high with less volume.
All right, so I'll keep this one short and sweet. I have not, so I have nothing to offer here.
Sorry to break the ice, but I haven't as well.
I haven't sold there either.
I haven't sold there either, but we've had somebody on that sold there or knew somebody who sold there. And I think it's Chairish. They said like it's interior designers that are mainly shopping on Chairish, and that Chairish actually arranges the freight for you. So you don't have to.
What did they speak at this Perfectly event or one of the reselling events we were at? I thought that's how we found out. I don't know.
I think Sam Jolie Flips has either sold on there or knows somebody that sells on there. I think that's who it was. But they said they like arrange the shipping. I just sold in the last week. I sold a wicker table and chairs. I sold a standalone wicker chair, and I sold nesting tables. I just did my high dollar, and we've had some like insane higher dollar sales. If I had the time to post on Chairish, I would, because I definitely have items that are appropriate for there. But because I can't do it with my cross-posting service, I haven't. But if you have enough time because you're doing less volume, I would try it. Maybe somebody in the chat too can pipe in. Maybe somebody has tried it in the chat as well. This is a fun question. Wendy wants to know, what emails or notifications from eBay do you hang on to? Is everyone reading and deleting? I need to get streamlined. My inbox is clogging up.
All right. So I actually have set up within Google. I don't even remember how I did this, but I have it set up so that when my emails come in from eBay or Poshmark or Mercari, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, they have their own special folders that they drop into. So I can see what I have there. But in full disclosure, I never look at any of them, really. They just go there in case I wanted to look back at them. So I haven't deleted them. When I get a message saying my inbox is running out of space, I'll probably just delete whole folders full then. As far as on eBay, like the notifications that I get there, I don't really delete those. I do like to keep them cleared in the sense that I like to mark them as red so that I can see when I have new ones come in. But I don't really delete anything from eBay either. It kind of self-deletes after, I think, 90 days. So that's my answer.
I pay attention to the one that says your funds will be put on hold if you don't answer the following questions. That's the one that I pay attention to. Any other ones, unless it's another a buyer, then I don't really pay much attention to them.
So for me, I mean, I have it hooked up to my phone. I get instant notification if I got a message. So I'm normally on top of my messages all the time. And for that reason, I don't have mine's not backed up, but anything else I just delete. If it's any buyer questions, I actually keep in there just in case I need a reference for future. But if a message just comes from eBay or something else, I just delete it. But if you actually go on a desktop, eBay actually breaks it down into
it highlights from eBay.
Yeah, but eBay breaks it down to inbox from members, unread from members, from eBay, unread from eBay, sent, deleted, and you can archive those. So I would say I would go on a desktop and go through it real fast, and you'll be able to, because eBay already categorizes for you, so you can delete an entire category on there real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I deleted them so much that my Yahoo now thinks they're spam, so I don't see any of them anymore.
Yeah.
But I do, like Rod said, because I go on my Seller Hub every day, and it'll highlight the important ones on there. And if eBay's slapping your hand like it's a Vero or something, so the unread from, like, it says like important messages from eBay, I think is what it comes up as if it's a policy violation.
Go to my screen real fast. They want me to, so I can just have a better understanding what it looks like.
I don't know if that one shows up though. Does it have it's like a flagged high importance one, unless right you have one?
Well, we'll say unread from eBay. So
there's another one that pops up.
Yeah, so from eBay, they have unread members, from members, inbox, and then they'll like important ones will flag. They'll flag them like this. I think
it pops up as something different.
Yeah, it'll be a red notification, but it'll be under your Seller Hub. So you're going to red notification on your Seller Hub too. That's something very important you need to look at.
A little side comment too. I have heard or believe, if I'm not mistaken, that one of the things in eBay's algorithm is actually that you read and respond to comments from members.
The messages. So do you know about that? It doesn't show that you answered if you do it on your phone and you have to go manually mark them.
Does it really?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, usually when I go in it,
Julian told that bearded thrift machine. Because if you answer the question,
name? I know. He was your co-host for like a year.
Oh, okay. Calling me out. Shannon just walked in and distracted me.
Likely excuse there, Kat.
Oh my God.
But that's okay. Listen, Rod replaced Julian. It's fine. We're okay with that, all right? It's okay.
5 years is a long time.
But he told us that. So I try and go in probably every month or so and mark all of them as answered, because we do answer them. We just answer them on the phone. And he said that you'll get more views if you mark them as answered. Yeah. But if you do it on your phone, it does not mark them as answered.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to be intentional about that. Like if you've finished basically messaging somebody and then they send you back the thank you at the end of it, it's going to show that you've still got a question to answer. So
let's see. All right. Hey, I had that too. Said, I'm going to a huge flea market to sell next month, and I want to take some older items from my eBay that are still listed. Should I end them before going or make a list of what sold to take down after? Wait your turn.
So this is a matter of preference, I guess, but I would, if I was going to do that, I would actually just delist them. And if I decided to relist them after I got back from the flea market, I would just go into my unsolds and put the ones back up. You could do it super quick, but if I'm taking it to the flea market, I'm probably not wanting to put it back up at all once it comes back. I'm trying to get rid of everything.
Yeah, I actually, my flea market business is probably bigger than my eBay business right now, but I do not mix the two at all. At all, I do not mix the two. So, if I had to, I would take them down, because you could, if you don't delete it too bad, then you could get it back up. I would take it down first. Just saying that, being on like Facebook. So with Facebook, what I'll do is if I do have a couple that are that way on Facebook, what I do is I make sure that as soon as it sells on Facebook, I cancel it like right away.
So I would say you would probably get mixed up. I agree with both of them down here. Like if you're going to combine the two in there, because if you've ever been to a flea markets come in waves and they get crazy. And that matter of time that you're having 4 or 5, 10 customers at your table and they're just giving money to you left and right and you're selling stuff. And then you're going to turn and think, oh, what did I just sell? Oh, wait a minute. Do I need to take that down? Did I take that down or not? Take them down before you go. Maybe keep them in a separate part of the table. What I would recommend, if you go to a flea market, take all their eBay items that you have, but keep them on one part of the table down there. So that way, when you go to pack them up to bring back later on, you know exactly where they are, and you can actually go back and just quick relist them real fast. But for me, if I'm taking stuff out of my eBay store, it's not going back in. So if I take it off eBay, there's a reason I'm taking it off eBay, because if I'm putting in all the work to list it on eBay, to keep it on eBay. Now, I would say it's a little bit different with like sports cards, something like that, because you can do card shows, and eBay is going to be real similar to Hot Market. That's a little bit different, I would say, for some people, but I still would recommend taking it down. I know people that when I go to a sports card show, they have stuff on eBay and in their store. They'll literally take photo. If you buy something from them, they'll take photos of the items, so they have a record of what they sold, and then before they finish that transaction. But I would say be careful, because you'll get yourself in trouble one way or another. So I prefer to take it down before I go.
Yeah, so I'm going to agree with Rod. If I am done with it enough that I'm taking it to a flea market, I'm not coming home with it, whether I sell it or give it away for free. I would take it down as I pulled it. And then at the end of the day, I would find someone, because if you say, I always say, and this I've done at the end of a yard sale, and I do now for when I have lots left over from auction buys, is I say it's free, but only if you take all. No picking through. One person takes everything. It's done. And that's what I would do. If I'm going to take it out of wherever it is stored, put it in my car, it is not coming back home. Like I'm writing it off one way or another. All right. Annette said, and we were talking about this. She said she understands why we have the commercials during the lives, but she's asking if the viewers miss anything, or does it pause while the commercial's airing? We are like 90% sure that we're paused while the commercial's airing. So the live, like if you got, let's say, 5 minutes worth of ads, the live would be 2 hours and 5 minutes instead of 2 hours. So you wouldn't miss anything that we're saying. So I want to put that up.
I think it's no different than just watching a regular video. You know what I mean? Where the video pauses, the ad pops up, and then it goes right back to where you left off.
Marsha's saying it doesn't pause.
Oh, it doesn't pause? Oh, okay.
Interesting. So maybe you do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought you wouldn't.
YouTube Premium, right. People.
Yeah, I love Premium for $10 a month. And it's so funny because Dalton always uses mine, and then he was on a different phone, and he was like, I want to say cussing the ads, but in like 6-year-old speak. He was like, these ads. He was so mad because he didn't have premium, because he got so used to having no ads. He got frustrated with it.
I will say, honestly think that YouTube they restructured everything about a month or 6 weeks ago, where they automatically place ads, and not just your videos, all your backlog of videos as well. And
yeah,
I am convinced. I cannot confirm this or anything. Allegedly, so we don't get in trouble here, I'm convinced that they did that on purpose to try to push more ads to A, create more revenue for YouTube, but also B, to push people to get premium because they're sick of the ads. So I honestly think
we make less money if you have premium, just to say, like, we all have premium, but we don't make as much. We get like 1% of 1% if you have premium. So that doesn't help us. So us pushing premium, we don't get anything if you do that. We get a lot less if you do that. All right. So Pod Rosie said, if you pay conversion fees because the seller is in another country, does that show on your invoice specifically, or does it just state because they're registered in another country?
So I 100% don't know the answer to this question. I've never noticed it on my invoice. So eBay just does their magical digital machine stuff and shows up in American dollars. So I don't know. I hate to say I don't know the two answers tonight, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Leroy's gone. I don't know if it shows on the invoice. That's a good question. I think it would. So I'm trying to think, if I buy something from another country, even if, because it shows up my credit card. So when I went to Europe and stuff like that, and I used my credit card over there, I did get charged a conversion fee, for the different transactions through my credit card. But certain banks, depending on your bank, some banks they don't charge conversion fees too, based on the bank. So I think it may come down to how it was paid, to be honest with you, to determine if you're going to cause a conversion fee or not. Because certain credit cards may not will waive that.
I didn't know. Oh, I forgot to put the other. I'm all distracted tonight. If you guys missed it, Marsha texted me and called me out. I didn't let these guys introduce themselves. Mike got me all flabbergasted with his $50 super chat. And that's the first time I think I've ever forgotten to let somebody introduce themselves. But I figured we were already far enough in. They're going to introduce themselves and say goodbye at the end. But I forgot Kate's super chat too.
Wait, I thought you told me you're like, screw these guys. They don't need to be on here speaking.
I don't even know what Brad sells. Does Brad sell tools? He sells tools, right? And stuffed animals or something?
Oh my gosh. Kate sent a $4.99 super chat and said, thank you for all you do. You are very, very welcome. Here, let's do this one.
Hi, I'm Goddess.
So little. And then we got another super chat that came in. That's what reminded me of Kate. Wolfman's Goody said, what do you call a fluffy male cat asleep on a bed? A Himalayan. Brad, they would like to see your shirt, please. He paid $10 to see your shirt.
Probably hoping I wore that Wolfman Goody shirt, but I wore my Mammoth WVH shirt. But Wolfman does have the best shirt in reselling. Everybody should go get one.
Do you have an example
of Wolfman's shirt?
Yeah.
Look at his logo down there in the bottom left-hand corner, and it's that.
I see his logo.
Yeah.
Is it his logo?
I have one in there if you want me to grab it.
I mean, if you want, you can grab it. It's been long enough. I'm going to do the octopus. I'm not going to do it yet. All right. Here's the octopus. Dun, 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 dun. Brad went to get Wolfman's shirt to show us. Joseph wants to know, why does eBay offer first class large envelope with pricing when listing an item, but it's not offered at all when shipping an item? Have any of you experienced this?
So I've never actually used it, but I do know that it is there when you go to list. I think there's some very specific rules on the first class large envelope. I think it has to be flexible, and there can't be any like much variance in the thickness. I think it has to be less than like 3/4 of an inch. But it not being there when you ship, I'm not sure because I've never used it. So yeah, I don't know. By
I
the way,
don't
here's
really.
that shirt.
What'd you say? If you're
Oh
passing?
yeah, that's cool.
So my understanding, I don't know. I know eBay's website's very antiquated, so there's a lot of stuff on there that shouldn't be there as well. But I mean, I thought they did away with first class shipping. So yeah, I don't know.
So it's like I think what used to be flats, maybe.
Maybe they just changed the name. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is cheaper. It's like less than $2, and but there are some restrictions on what you can put in, and I also think it doesn't have tracking, so it's kind of like another version of the sports card. What's that called? The
flat, the standard envelope.
Yeah, standard envelope, but it's maybe a little bit bigger items.
Okay.
Vicky asked what I was drinking tonight. I'm drinking water. There's water in my cup. I don't use this, so I've never looked, but I'm wondering if like you have to put specific dimensions for it to come up. That's the only thing I could think of. Like padded flat rate, if you don't put the right dimensions, sometimes it won't show up.
So for example, like if you're shipping, if I shipping, let's say magazines or something like that, or like some type of book that's similar to magazines, but I list it in a category that's not a book related category, media mail won't even pop up because that category, so it's really specific to that category. So that could be it. It just could be the category that you're in that, hey, it's an option, but because there's shipping restrictions for that category, those shipping options are not open when you go to ship through eBay. Now, if you use like pirate ship or another type of shipping service, you can access different types of shipping options. So, for example, like if I'm shipping stuff that's media mail, but I want to put it in a certain category, just for the fact that I'll get more eyes on it, and then I'll ship that item through pirate ship through media mail instead, because I will be able to get that. So that's one option that could be what the problem is.
I'm pretty sure the dimensions are like 15 by 11 by 1. I think it's like officially like 3/4 of an inch thick, and it has to be less than 13 ounces. I think that's just going off memory though. I think that's what it is. So.
All right. BB said an item was returned to her as undeliverable, no such address, but the buyer confirms it is the correct address and wants a full refund, including shipping. Am I responsible for the incompetence of the USPS?
So you shipped the item, USPS delivered it back to you. The customer didn't get their item, so yeah, you're going to be responsible for it. I mean, you could try to arm wrestle the USPS for it, but I don't think you're going to get anywhere with that. It's just one of the kind of the extreme ownership things you have to take when you're in business. It's the same as if
but I could take them.
Yeah, if you ship the item and it does get delivered and your customer says they didn't get it, then you're off the hook there, because so it's kind of that same way, just in a different direction. Either way, your customer didn't get it. You should probably hope it comes back to you. And I don't know. Yeah, you're going to be responsible for it. Sorry.
I feel like this is probably going to be my last time on the show, guys, because I feel like these questions are getting hotter and hotter, and I'm getting dumber and dumber because I'm so stuck in a square. I do change stuff up, but I don't. So I don't really have an answer for this, but I hope they let me come back on because I feel like I'm just losing knowledge.
So if I ship an item to a buyer and the package gets lost, I am responsible for that. If I ship an item to the buyer and the package is broken when they get it, I am responsible for that. If I ship an item to a buyer and it gets returned back to me, I am responsible for that. It is the seller's responsibility to take until that item arrives safely to the buyer. That's why you're responsible to get insurance. That's why you're responsible for tracking on it, everything possible to protect your business. Unfortunately, this is what we call cost of doing business. Yes, there's things outside of your control, just like all the things I just said that you can't control. But unfortunately, you're going to have to eat this one.
I would try not to pay it. Because but they might make you. It doesn't matter if you have insurance.
I know.
They're not going to cover it in this situation. They're saying it was undeliverable. I would ask them to check with their local carrier is one thing I would do. But normally in this situation, like on a return, if I don't refund the shipping, the buyer can open a claim with eBay, and eBay will pay the shipping if I'm a top rated seller. So I'm thinking if there was an option, that is what I would do. And I would tell them to please, ask eBay for the postage back in this situation, because it's not your fault or their fault. It's nobody's fault. So I would want eBay to pick it up if that was an option. Now, if I had to go through a bunch of hoops to do it, I'm just going to give them their postage back. I have one coming back to me actually from one of you, and it was a big jewelry order that the apartment didn't get put on. So that's why it's coming back to me. So, and I'm on pins and needles till it gets back, because it was hundreds of dollars of jewelry. But yeah, so I would do it. I'm going to throw this up real quick. Michelle saying USPS lost a $1,200 item. The insurance would have been $21. That is $21 I would have paid. Anytime an item is over $100, I pay for insurance out of my pocket, because if they lose it, they pay it with no question. I don't count on it for damages, but if they lose it, they will pay you back automatically.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just going to add to that is, if I'm shipping a $1,200 item, I'm not going to ship it through the postal service. Just going to give you guys a heads up. I would go through FedEx or UPS, because they are private institutes, and they have a lot better traction and better plans with them, because you can actually track the driver. You can actually see where he is located in real time on the road. If there's anything happening, if that package gets lost or that package gets stolen, they will come out and investigate, and they can actually use the GPS in his truck to find out. Because I had a situation where they stole two PS5s from me, and it was an inside job. So that happened many, many years ago. But I would say I would recommend doing that. And if you go into anytime I have a high dollar item like that, I actually don't use eBay shipping. I go through Pirate Ship. You can import your eBay listings in there. Go through there, because if you do have a claim, Pirate Ship will handle it for you, and it's so much easier compared to going through UPS or FedEx or the postal service yourself. So that's why I go through Pirate Ship to do all my high dollar items.
I was going to say on the undeliverable thing, there are two other things you can do. I've done both of these. One of them is I got my postal carrier just to send it right back through. So instead of picking it up, they actually just peeled the sticker off that said undeliverable, put it back in the system. What that's not going to do, though, is it's not like the tracking's not going to show up the same way on the return as it did coming back to you. But it got there, and there's no problem. The other one just happened like a few weeks ago. I had a buyer that said this always happens. As soon as it happened and they saw where the tracking showed that, it was undeliverable, they contacted me and said, this happens to me quite often. Is there anything you could do to help? So I just got I talked to my postmaster, and they actually got it looped back around in the system and sent it back, and it got delivered before it ever made its way back to me. So
I would also reach out to the buyer too, see if they want you to reship the item or if they just want a refund. Because even if you do try to reship the item and the buyer's already upset and doesn't want the item anymore, that's going to come back and return. You're going to pay shipping twice then. So
they were upset. They weren't upset with me though. Yeah. So they just wanted the item. So
yeah.
That's also something that I would say, wherever your local post office is, even if it's your postal carrier, I say if you can get to your post office within 7 or 8 miles, I would just go there every day. But that's why having a relationship with your postal service is very important to me. Because if you have an issue, they know who you are. You don't have to go on the phone. I'll just go there and I talk to them, and they try to help me the best I can because they know I'm there twice a day.
Since we're talking about the post office, can I praise them for just 1 minute?
Yeah.
I know they catch a lot of grief. So I drink Sun Drops. It's the nectar of the gods here in Tennessee. Okay. I had all my totes, our postal totes that we throw our packages in, and I had one of these that I threw in there to carry with me, and I forgot to get it out to put in the car. When I got back to the post office the next day, the postmaster's like, hold up. And he takes off sprinting to the back, and he comes back with my Sun Drop, and he even put it in the fridge to keep it cold. That's the service you get. That's the service you get in Tennessee, folks. Shout out to my postal people. They're awesome.
That's awesome. All right. Patty said, just a rant. She sent an offer for an item that was accepted, but almost at the same time it was purchased by another buyer. I sent it to the person who bought first. So it doesn't matter who bought first. It matters who paid first.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the big thing there.
Did the system show it as double sold, like you were supposed to send it to two people? That would seem like almost impossible with eBay system, but I'm not against.
Yeah, I would hope it would.
Impossible. Yeah, I can't answer that because I've never been in that situation.
I've never had it marked double sold, but I had that happen last week where I sent the offer to one guy. He kept haggling me. I sent the offer to him, and then it sold, and it wasn't him, and it was sold for full price. And I think we've all had that issue before, but it was in the matter of like 5 or 10 minutes.
In like 6 months ago, eBay incorporated like a new feature where they, before, if a buyer accepted your offer, they would remove it off eBay, and then you would have to wait for the buyer to pay. So the ones where buyers don't have, well, then eBay put in automatic payment. So if you accept an offer, they automatically build your credit card. Well, now what they do now is the people that haven't rolled out the automatically bill your credit card, what they do is if a buyer accepts the offer, the item will still stay listed on eBay until that buyer actually pays for the item. So what happens is he accepted the offer, never paid for the item, and someone else came in and bought it. So that's happened to me. Just like Leroy said, like it's happened to me where I've sent an offer, someone accepted it for lower money, and some came and bought it full price. So.
Buddy's here.
Buddy's getting so big.
My face is covered in dog spit. Oh. Okay.
Wait, no!
He's very bad.
Stop!
He's pulling things off of things. So I like my highest sale like in a long time was the $1,500 train horn, and I accepted 2 offers for $1,150, and they didn't pay, and it sold for full price, and they paid. So like I much prefer this. The only way that offer gets accepted and it comes down is if it's an international buyer without paying, just so you know. So that is the situation that it will come down with an offer without payment is if they're international, just a FYI. I wanted to, but this is just a comment too. Mary Jo said she followed my advice and turned down 2 lowball offers, and the next day it sold for full price. I don't like if they're too low, it really depends on my mood to whether I'm going to decline or counter them at a penny under asking. I had a pair of Dan Post boots, like very nice, very good condition. I put them in $100. It was a really good price. And like, I mean, like minutes after it was listed, I'm getting like $60 offers, $70 offers. And I'm like, no. And they ended up selling in 2 days for full price, no offer. So, I mean, those weren't even like ridiculously lowball offers, but they were for the fact that it had been listed an hour, you know, and I had them priced fairly. If it's something that's been listed a long time, I will recomp it and just make sure my price is on point. But yeah, I'm not against declining. I know everybody says to counter, but sometimes I'm just like, no, I'm not going to deal with this.
Cat had enough.
I have had enough. Susan wants to know, can we give her an idea if sales are up or down for us and what is selling best on various platforms?
I almost hate to answer this question because I just glanced when I saw the question there. I just glanced, and ours are up 32%. over the last 31 days. So ours are up. The one thing I will say though is like looking at the chart, whereas the the graph is usually fairly steady on eBay, it seemed like for the most part over the last few years, like it's a lot more roller coasterish. I'll have like a really high day followed by like a couple of low days and like a really low day and then a really high day. And that's happened quite a bit. And then for me, I sell the same. We're selling lots of Playmobil on different platforms, and the buyers are pretty much kind of follow the same patterns for that specific thing we sell across all the platforms. But if you're looking for something that's selling really good at the moment, golf clubs. So, but I've been listing more of them also. So
I feel like you just gotta list. If you list and you stay consistent with it, then and just double check your stuff. If you every month, if you spent the day to check and make sure everything was, everything was spelt right and the pictures were good and all that. And I think the thing that's hot right now is tools. I think everybody should sell tools.
I hate when I get this question because it's so subjective. There's so many variables out there when it comes to this. It's specifically. So I think you need to be more specific when you ask this question. If you're an everything seller, that you want to compare yourself to another everything seller, because, like, for example, you're niching down to your toys and other stuff. You're niching down to tools, So like, it's hard to kind of say because certain, like, if you just sold winter jackets, yeah, of course your sales are gonna be horrible right now. But if you sold bathing suits, nothing but bathing suits, man, your sales will be through the roof. So it's very subjective. For me, I'm down. I just looked. I'm down 56% this month compared to last month. Now, with that being said, that sounds horrible, but yet it's not, because I listed like $25,000 worth of items last month. I had a killer month because I had a bunch, 2 really, really good buys, big buys. So mine's going to be skewed off. So I can't say that my sales are actually down. I would say I had an off week last week. But I mean, you're going to run a little bit summer slowdown here, just in the very beginning when school's out. People start going on vacation, other stuff. But at the end of the day, like, it's hard to say. Just like Leroy said, just keep listening, keep doing what you do. It's it's going to come right back.
I am up 67% over last month. We've done 3,500 this week. We did 5,000 last week. We're at 15,400 for the month. And what I've been doing is A, listing more, B, sourcing better. I'm buying higher dollar items. I'm buying rarer items that have a higher demand. I'm having tons of items that sell within a week, which is me sourcing better and having a little more discipline as far as what I'm buying, or at least what I'm listing.
And that's not normal, because you do a lot of long tail items as well, because you do a lot of antiques.
I do a lot of lots. I've been doing a lot of jewelry, so I will pull the more popular branded rare items and I'll let the rest go. Even if they're worth 40 or 50 bucks, I start them at $5, but I'm making the money on the top, ones. Like, I sold a $270 brooch in a day. So I am doing a lot more jewelry, but overall I am sourcing better, but I'm also pulling, and we're going to be doing whatnot sales with stuff from the house clean outs. I'm putting stuff in there worth $40, $45, and I'm going to start it at $2 or $3. Like, there will be money for other people to be made because my cutoff is $50. And I might miss some items too, because I'm not taking a lot of time on them either. But yeah, I really, and I mean, I know I'm not even necessarily listing a ton. It's just the stuff I'm getting is better. So some days it's only 10, but other days it might be 40. Like today I only did 10 because I was recording videos all day, but I have made a point of listing every day to every platform. And that includes Etsy, which before I didn't do a ton on Etsy. So we're getting some more Etsy sales because I think I'm feeding that Etsy algorithm. I like, as far as what's selling best, it's jewelry because that's what I'm listing the most of. And I think that happens a lot too. We've been selling a lot of clothes too, jewelry. I mean, I'm not niche down, and that, if one thing's not selling, another is. We sold 3 furniture pieces in the last 2 weeks. I mean, And now those took a year to sell, but I paid $20 and sold it for $650. Like, I'm okay with that. Another one I paid $16 and sold it for $175. So yeah, it's very, very subjective, because if you're not listing the same exact things we are for the same exact prices, they're and have the same amount of items, it's really hard. Like, we're comparing apples to oranges with this question every time we answer it. It's difficult to know. And like, if you looked at sell-through rate and only allowed yourself to buy and list items with 100% or better sell-through rate, you would have good sales. I will bet you money, hands down. Now, can you find only items that are 100% sell-through rate? I can't, but I can try and shoot for 50%, which means they should sell in 6 months or less. You know, do I always do it? No. There's some stuff I make exceptions for because I like selling, and I don't care if they sit here. But that, you got to figure out your own business model and decide. And if you want quick sales, you have to only source selling items, which is not the easiest. Everybody wants those. That's why they're harder to find.
Yeah.
All right. Diane wants to know, is it possible to do no refund on an item when all other items have the refund option? If so, how?
So I'm guessing by no refund, she means no returns.
No returns. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you absolutely can not do returns on an item. I use and have used for several years business policies. So my return policy is just set. It's automatic for me. I don't have to think about it. And I do free returns, and that's all set up. But if memory serves me correct, when you're not using business policies, there's an option where you can choose whether or not to take returns. Is that still there, guys? And I think you can just click it. It's just one of the options when you get down to where it has your price and your shipping and all of that. So.
Sorry. I did not pay attention to any of this. My bad. I have distractions today.
He's fired.
Yeah, please skip me.
Just go ahead and go get your snack, Leroy.
I haven't had my snack yet. They woke me up, guys. Just so you guys know, they woke me up. I was sleeping.
Go to the fridge and get your snack. Leroy is a machine that runs on calories. You need to go get those, brother.
So yeah, so you can go in there and you can change your settings on any item that you want. Unfortunately, I will say, if you put no refunds on, if the buyer wants to return the item, they're going to find a way to return the item one way or another. So, you maybe walk into, not to mention from the other side, as a buyer, if someone has no refunds in the item, that's also a deterrent for me to buy compared to an item. Because if the buyer is putting in a good item, good quality on it, there's nothing wrong with it. There should be no reason I'm buying them that I want to return it. So by putting no, now what I would do is maybe put on buyer pays return shipping if it's like a big high item, or if it's like a extremely heavy item or something along those lines. But I mean, the buyers also want protection, and unfortunately, you're not. There's ways they can work around it on eBay to get that return one way or another.
I did it on something that came back to me twice, and I was like, I'm not doing this again. And that's but you just go in and manually edit it is all you have to do. I'm going to post the link for you guys to Jaden's home YouTube channel, because in order for the giveaway, you need to be following them, but I don't want all the hashtag. I'm not starting the giveaway yet, but I wanted to put that in there. So it's there so you can go follow them. And yeah. All right, let's see. Carrie wants to know any tips on boosting sales. Backstory is, until this past weekend, I had not put up any new listings since mid-March. They moved and the store was in vacation mode twice, but now she's back to listing.
So promote at a higher degree, Carrie. Just kidding. Don't necessarily do that. I would say if you haven't been listing regularly and you are now, that eBay it's not really that complicated. If you list consistently, things are going to start moving. It just might take, if you've had a bit of a layoff, it might take a little bit of time for the dam to break and sales to start coming and all that start moving again, but it will. Just be consistent and stay encouraged, and it'll work.
Yeah, I would say sometimes I go away, I'll go home up north for a, a week or a month, and I just come back and I just list like a manimal, and it usually spikes the algorithm a little bit. And when I'm away, I put the stuff that's not selling on sale. So there's a sale while I'm gone. If it's not shut down, if my store's not shut down, then I put my stuff on sale. And then when I come back, I just list like an animal.
So you could actually delist everything in your store and relist it back on. You can do that. So take everything down, do self-similar, and put it right back up. If you want to kind of try to trigger the algorithm, that'd be one trick you could potentially do. But I would say anytime I take time off, like if I travel or if I have a family emergency or if something happens that I can't list for a little bit, if I just like Leroy said, if you come back, you list like a madman, you just try to get as much stuff up as possible. You know, at the end of the day, it's going to sell. And that's something I try to do every August and September now. I try to list like a madman because it sets me up perfectly for the fourth quarter. So.
Yeah, I typically have found is when I start listing again that it will pick back up, but you could do the sales. I've been promoting really heavy. I did pull up compared to last year since you guys were saying that. So we're down 17% for the same point this year compared to last year. So we are overall, but we had like 2 really, really bad months here recently. So, yeah, but I think listing, you could do the sales, you could do the end and sell similar, but really just listing regular should get them back on track. All right. Cindy said she is a vintage hard goods seller and starting to list on Poshmark. What do you put in the original price field? She has no idea what the item originally cost. And if it's vintage, it may cost more now than it did originally.
I just put 0 in that field every single time. That's what I have pre-populated in my Vendu forms. And when I use list perfectly, that's what we had. So just 0.
That's a tough one for me. I don't really have that issue. So
Yeah, I usually just put 0 a lot of times in that. So it just, I don't know what works, what's not. I'm not a big Poshmark guy, so I just put 0.
I put 0 as well. I put 0 on everything.
Consensus.
All right. LK Vintage says, I'm close to my 1,000 free store limit. Should I go ahead and pay almost double to upgrade? Is there 1,000 store or should you delete all the items? We can all talk about this.
There's not a 1,000 free, is there? I know so I'm at the whatever the $59, the $60 tier is. That's what I'm at.
Yeah.
And it has like a certain amount of listings that don't count towards your thing, but I'm not sure what that is. I don't really know how to answer this question. I'm curious.
It's tough. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's tough for me as well. I've been on the $59 plan. Probably, it feels like for 59 years. I just stay with, even though like right now I only have 200 listings in my store, I just stay where I am. I'm comfortable with it, and I just keep it that way.
I guess you get 1,000. You get 1,000 or whatever it is with the 60 plan. I don't really think of them as free, but
you get 10,000.
You get 10,000 with the $60 plan.
Yeah.
So, that's
really?
what I have.
So yeah,
yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Well, back in the day, it was only 1,000, I think. If I'm not
$22 store is 1,000 listings.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what ended up happening was
60 is the 10,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
You took away the question now. There it is. So yeah, you're close to the store limit. So what I would recommend doing is it's just a simple math equation. What are they going to charge you for each additional item? And, so if it might charge you 25 cents for each item that you list, going after that, remember, once your items renew every 30 days, you will get, that counts as one new listing to your store.
Yeah.
So what I would do is just simply go down and just break down the numbers. How many can I list after that 1,000 without having to upgrade to the new store? Or does it make more sense to me to upgrade a new store based on the amount of items I'm listing? If you're only listing, 50 items a month. Well, that 1,000 items, it may just be better just
You
pay the
can
extra
pay
money
the
for that.
30 cents or 25 cents or whatever, and it's cheaper.
So you just have to do the math of what the difference is from the amount of items you're listing on a monthly basis compared to what it costs to upgrade to that store.
But you have to remember, every time they roll over every 30 days, it counts again. So it's not, you don't have 1,000 to list every month. You can only have 1,000 rolling in that month. So for me, I knew I was going to go up. I'm at 8,000 now. But I agree with Rod. You could just pay, the insertion fee if it's less than, $40 a month. If it's more, then mathematically you're going to be better off to upgrade to the higher store. Plus you get the higher shipping coupon too, which kind of deducts a little from that because you're using the supplies. But yeah, but if you delete old items, that's not going to help you for that month. That won't help until the next month.
Right.
So it's actually costs you 25 cents for each additional listing, that you list. So you just would have to see over 1,000 items, how many extra items are you listing per month? And if you're doing more than 100, then you should probably upgrade your store. Or if you're, because the store,
$25.
Yeah, because if you're doing the $1,000 store, if you do the year subscription, it's $21.95, and then the other one's $59.95. So just subtract the $21.95 from the $51.95 and see what I'll do the math for you here. Go ahead,
something else to consider while he's figuring that up is if part of your strategy is to delist and sell similar, and you're close to your limit, it's really going to hinder that. So.
That's why I do it on the day that they're ending. That's how I choose what I'm ending and selling similar, because they're going to roll anyways.
See,
is there?
So it's the $38 difference from the basic store to the premium store if you do the year subscription to it. So if you times the $38 by 4, it's 152 items. So if you have 1,000 items in your store, you can list a total of 1152. Or I'm sorry, 1151. It would be easy. It would be cheaper for you for up to 151 items to actually to keep the basic store and just pay that. So 1,151 items. Anything over that, you're better off paying the premium store because it'll be cheaper.
What about cheaper fees? Are the fees a little cheaper on the 60 store?
No,
I think there's isn't there like a little bit of a discount between that tier and
I think only if you're top rated, but I think you get that on any store.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
It's been a long time since I looked at it.
Let me see. So lower fees. Well, there are lower fees, but in both levels. So let me see if there's a difference between I have to put those side by side. Oh, please.
What were you going to say, Leroy?
Okay. I've been trying for 10 minutes. I feel like I'm way under, because I only have like 250 items listed right now, and I pay the $59 store. But I just have it in my budget, and I just automatically pay that and feel like I don't ever want to have to go backwards.
It's not going backwards.
I can't afford if the money that I make on eBay, if I can't afford to pay the $59, for me to drop down a lower tier because I'm not listening, just for me, I get every quarter I get a coupon, and I don't know. Am I wrong for that? Am I wrong?
100%.
Yeah.
Because
Why?
You never have 1,000 items.
Never
You're
1,000
wasting
items.
money.
You're wasting $30 a month.
We've had this conversation.
You can literally, so if you want to run a business, you're literally spending an extra $38 a month. You times that by 12 months, you're paying an extra $456 a year.
$500.
How long you been on eBay for?
You can send it to me to motivate you. Just lower your store and then mail me $38.
Over 10 years, that's $4,500.
I've only been on eBay for 10 weeks.
No, you have. But no, I mean, they changed the store. So when you originally got the $59 store, they had different levels. So that's why all of us actually have that one, to be completely honest with you. But there's no, I mean, I would, because it doesn't penalize you for downgrading your store. You can always upgrade.
I'm afraid the algorithm would.
No.
It won't.
I really am.
No, I know people have done it. It doesn't impact their algorithm at all or anything like that. But hey, you just told us your main business model is the flea market right now is doing better than the eBay business. So with that being said, I mean, why not?
I tried this before, it didn't work.
We shall publicly shame you. Maybe the chat hill will get you to do it. I'm just giving you a hard time, Leroy. So we love you here.
No, I just never really thought about it until and I hate that this question's dragging on, but I've never really thought about it. But I'm sort of afraid. I'm sort of afraid that if I did it, it would. I don't know which one I'll go down to, but I'll talk about it with. I don't talk to you that much, Brad, Rod, but Brad will put me in check or cat. So.
It's a legit, but that's a legit concern a lot of people have because they're so afraid of what's going to happen to the algorithm and what you could potentially do. So Leroy, like that's a legit concern with that. I would just say from a business standpoint, I mean, you need to reevaluate your. This goes for anyone. You need to reevaluate how you get your products, how you do your sourcing, your supplies, your fees. There's a lot of people that just go in because you know what, they're doing well and they don't do that. But you always need to reevaluate your business every quarter or every couple times a year to see where you can save money, because that's what every corporation does. Every CEO, they go down the list and try to see where they can cut money or save money for their business.
Yeah. Okay, Vintage sent a $10 super chat and said, thanks, Rod, for doing the math. I will upgrade. I am going to give you Rod because Mark said he probably won't be here tonight, so I'm not kidnapping it from Rod or from Mark. Oh, my gosh. And then I'm going to set up for our free thermal printer giveaway. So here is Rod.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
See, this time I'm distracted because I'm trying to pull up the giveaway. So I couldn't punch.
That's right. You know what's going to happen next. I'm going to yell at you. That's why.
Well, the algorithm's going to go down because Leroy said so.
All right.
That's the bottom line.
Before you all start spamming the chat here, let me pull this comment off and share my screen. All right, guys. So we are giving away a free thermal printer 4x6 for labels. It is from Jaden's Home, so thank you to them. I also put my coupon code in the description. If you don't win, you can get 14% off of any of their printers that you want. So hashtag Jaden's Home to enter the giveaway for a free 4x6 printer. And we're gonna answer a couple of questions, and then we will pick one winner. And it happens to be on my 5-year anniversary of my podcast. So there we go. All right. Sorry, Leroy.
I just want to add one last thing that because people are saying in the chat, yes, if you do downgrade your store, you will go from a $50 supply coupon to a $25 one, but you only get that once a quarter. And then also though, eBay supplies are a lot more expensive than you can get yourself. So yes, you do. Just keep that in mind.
All right. So Serenity Shares said USPS is charging her a $2.60 fee to her eBay account for dropping off her 2 packages in a different zip code than her own. Has anyone ever heard of this?
I haven't heard of it, but if your zip code from where you're supposed to ship from winds up falling in a different zone than where you're actually shipping it from, I could see how that could happen. So like if you're on that line where east of that line is one zone and west of that line is another zone, and you cross that line.
You could change your ship from zip code to their zip code, though. That's what I would do. Yeah.
What if you don't know, though? What if you're just, you're on your way to somewhere and you have to, for convenience, do it on the way?
I don't have that problem.
I don't either.
I have no problems. Just overpaying stuff.
And I've had something similar like that where I would print the label and then pack it behind, and I was doing like a road trip to go someplace, and then I forgot to ship out my item on the way because I was so excited, or I was in a rush to get the place I was going, and then I had to ship from a different state, and I got dinged with a charge and stuff like that. So it's just like Brad said, different regions, different states that are going to have different costs. That's why they use calculated shipping for that reason.
Yeah. I haven't ran into it because I have one post office. We always use the same post office and it's the same zip code. Hollyhock wants to know, are there any negatives to the international sales program? Oh my Lord.
From my perspective, no, not really. I mean, I ship the item the same way I would to anybody else. And once it gets to eBay's international shipping hub or wherever it's leaving from, it's kind of out of my hands at that point. So I kind of
probably
like it.
Yeah, I probably sell like one a month, and I haven't had any like big issues with it at all.
So I would say the only issue that you may run into to the international program, this is not really a problem. I would say it's more or less with the customer base that you may deal with, just because there is a language barrier sometimes, and they may not understand, or things may be taken out of context. I've had that happen a couple times, where we had to go back and forth over items or certain things in the listings. But other than that, though, I mean, I absolutely love the international shipping program, because you ship it twice. You ship it from your location to the shipping hub. Once it arrives to the shipping hub, then eBay marks that as a delivery, and then eBay ships it from their shipping hub internationally for you. So you're pretty much off the hook if the packages gets caught in customs, if the item gets stolen, lost along the way. So I enjoy it. I like the international shipping program.
Yeah, and I love it. I don't really see any downsides to it either. Get your hashtag Jaden Tolman if you want to win the free thermal printer, and we're going to answer one more question at the end of this one. We will draw a winner. Carolyn wants to know. Oh, whoops, wrong one.
Yeah, no, I put that on there for reasons. Yeah,
click it again.
Yeah, international shipping is a lot higher. There's buyers that will pay $70, $80, $100 for shipping sometimes, but they know what they're getting themselves into, because there's certain items they can't even get in their country. That's why they will buy stuff from the States that have it shipped over there. So they know what they're getting themselves into. So I wouldn't worry about that.
All right. Karen said, lots of talk about pirate ship. Does anybody want to explain to her how it works?
Yeah, just go to pirateship.com. You can create an account. Once you've created an account, you'll find some instructions on how to connect that to your eBay account, and you just make the connection, and then you can simply when it go to ship an item, you can click on the ship an item, and it'll have like a few different options. One of them is import from eBay. You'll click it and you'll do it. And so there are some advantages to doing that. I'll give you one example that I actually had today. So shipping golf clubs, eBay system won't allow you to put in like half measurements. So you can't put in like 6 1/4 inches by 6 1/4 inches by whatever. So you have to round everything up, and the cost of like UPS ground on an item like that could be significantly lower if you go to pirateship.com and you put in actual dimensions. For me, it was like a savings of almost $12 today.
Wow.
So there are some advantages to that.
All right, I'm going to pick a winner, printer dinner. All right, we have 126 entries. Let's see who gets it. Dun, 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 dun. Noreen Lucy, you're the winner. You need to email me the nurseflipper@yahoo.com. I need your mailing address, your email address, your phone number, and I think that's it, because they need the phone number for delivery. So send me that to the nurseflipper@yahoo.com. Marsha just typed it in the chat. Thank you, Miss Marsha. I appreciate you. We saw Marsha Saturday. I went to her thrift store, not hers, but kind of hers, where she works. All right. Miss Judy says, I always sell items at 2% promotion, and today I noticed a purse sold and they charged a variable percent at 13%. I would charge $35 for $225. I double checked by selling similar and it was 2%. Why? Does anybody know the answer to this question?
The only explanation I would possibly have was that you accidentally did click that, but you're saying you sold similar and was 2%. I'll be on the phone with eBay if I believe that to be true.
I
Yeah.
I would say great job paying attention to that.
Yeah.
Great job.
Appreciate.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I would. So I have accidentally thought I had 2% in there and then put, click the wrong button, stuff like that. I would just reach out to eBay, let them know the situation, say, hey, I put 2% in there, because eBay is known to have glitches and errors, especially if they do updates and try to change things. Also, too, if you contact customer service, they may do a one-time exception if it was just a mistake, and just put it down to 2% and maybe issue a partial refund or something like that back. But it's worth a try. I mean, you have nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, you're stuck paying the $35 charge. You've already been charged that. So I would try. It's only up from there.
Yeah, I would try and contact them too. I do mine at a flat. All of my items are at the same, so I don't have that issue. I don't do it different on different items. I have a campaign that encompasses all my listings. So
that might be a good thing to automate as much as you can. On those
yeah,
things.
if you do everything at 2% and you have a campaign at 2%, then you would have a leg to stand on for sure. Because like all of my items are encompassed in that. So I like doing that, and you can tell it to include newly listed items, which I do, or you could wait. I know some people don't like promoting, newer items. I just do everything so I don't have to worry about it. Bernadette wants to know, are people seeing a higher amount of cheaper items being sold and a less amount of expensive items? So with your sales, what do you feel that you're seeing?
Okay, so this one's going to be hard for me to answer because the majority of our items, because of the way we have our business set up and specializing in Playmobil, a lot of our items are lower cost items. That being said, we've been selling plenty of higher priced items too. I've sold several $100+ golf clubs this week. $85 Bible. So yeah, I see a high amount of cheaper items sold consistently every week because of the way our business is. So
I did for a while, but I've switched some stuff around, and I'm actually at 44. My average sale price is $44. So
Nice.
yeah, so it's what you list. I mean, you see it, but I'm saying like in my own store. So yes, I see it on the platform, but if you look if you look what you're listing, just say mentally for every 10 items you sell under $20, try to do 2 of them over 200 or over 100. You know what I mean? Just if it's not that easy, just try to pick those couple of things that you're listing over $100. I do have one thing to say. Someone that I know, and I'm not going to put any names, but they will put their items higher than what it's really worth to say that it's $100 item, but it's really everybody else is only selling it for 75. I would say don't really do that. I would say try to stay where the market is. But yeah, that's what I would do.
So once again, it's a tough question because depending on what type of items you have in your store, going to be what's going to be selling. Also, too, remember if I'm listing, if I have a lot of high dollar items in a certain category, so I'll use like comic books. If I have a lot of graded comic books in that, and I start listing comic books in that category, I have a tendency to see a bunch of my other items sell in there because there's getting more eyes on it because people are clicking on the newly listed items, seeing what else I have to sell, and then they're looking at my other items. So it also helps if you do have high dollar items in your store. If you list similar items to those, they're going to get more looks at it overall. For me, I literally probably like a couple hours before this podcast, I sold a $990 item in my store. So, it just depends on the items you have listed. I do have over $100,000 worth of stuff listed in my store too, so that also does help.
Yeah, I just looked. Mine's honestly, I feel like half and half. I did though. Leroy saying that his average sales price is up made me look. So I told you guys my sales are down, but my average sales price now is $46.95, which is up 20% from last year. So that I am proud of for sure. So I've increased my ASP by 20% over last year, over the whole year in comparison. So we're definitely selling a lot more high dollar, but we're still getting a lot of lower.
Oh, I lied. I just went and checked it. It's actually 56.9.
Yeah, the one up,
you had to clear the year on that one.
Sorry for fibbing.
Well, actually,
No, I went and looked. I'm like, ooh.
Here, I don't know if this is the case. Dinkle said, has anyone been noticing an uptick because Klarna's on the platform? Because now people can do payments with Klarna. I don't know. I haven't paid attention to that, honestly.
I don't know.
I don't even know what Klarna is, to be honest with you. I saw
It's
it the other day.
like online financing. PayPal does it too.
Yeah.
Like I have PayPal Pay Later because I used it for something a long time ago. So I have like a balance that I can use now, but I don't use it. All right.
I wish they told us how people paid, because that would actually help out. Like if they're paying by credit card, they're paying by PayPal, how they're paying Venmo.
Yeah. If they're using their funds, that's what I do. My usable funds.
That's the only way I'll buy something.
All right. Teresa said, can we talk about taking photos? Please help. Mine always seem to have a bit of blur no matter what I do. The phone is clamped in the holder. I use a Bluetooth button to click from the phone. Does anybody have, like, what would your first thoughts or suggestions be?
Has this always been a problem, or is this a recent development? Clean the lenses. If it's something recent, it could be as simple as that. You can tap on the item on most phones. I'm sure Android. I know Apple is this way. Android's probably the same way. If you actually click on the focus point of the item, it will focus on there. You're using a Bluetooth button to click the frame, so it's not a motion blur problem. I don't know. I mean, it could be. It's kind of hard to answer because that could be so many different things. So.
I had an issue for the longest time, and it actually was my cell phone. It was something in my cell phone. It was an older cell phone, and I had this smudge that would just be off to the left-hand side, and it didn't matter. It was just something in the lens that was internal. So try taking other pictures that are not eBay pictures and take a picture with your husband's phone. I don't know if you have a husband, but take a picture with your husband's phone or somebody else's phone and just make an example for yourself, and then just try to say, okay, so it is not my phone, or it is not the lighting, it's actually my phone, or you know what I mean? Like,
so she said it's hard for her to see that they're blurry until she uploads them into LP. That makes me wonder if it like Leroy, that was my first thought, is that it's an older phone. Yeah. B would be check the megapixels or the quality of the photos, because they might look really good this little, but then when you put them on a computer, they don't. So that would be the second thing too.
Yeah, my first thought was about it might be an older phone. That could be, be one thing. I had an issue with mine when I was doing my lives, and people kept saying I looked blurry, and my lens was slightly dirty. Just like, so it was a very simple fix.
I made that joke, but it's happened.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I would say I would try to reset your phone, just like a hard reset. Just turn it off, turn it back on, do that. I would go into my also too, because depending on your phone, I don't know which phone you have, but sometimes the phone will automatically zoom in, so you can actually adjust the settings and zoom out on the picture. So maybe you're just zoomed in too much. Lighting can also be an issue depending on how you have your lighting. So I would try take pictures in different lighting settings. That could be potentially depending on what the item is, but I don't know. Kat, I know you have something to say. Do you have something to say there or no?
No, I already said, like if it's a older phone, but like if they're looking okay on the phone, that really makes me think, like I said, it's either the phone or the quality of the images.
Do you think possibly when she moves it to her phone to the computer, because she is uploading to LP, she said, and then
I don't think it's the uploading. I think it's that she's seeing the picture bigger.
Is she? Are you uploading them directly to List Perfectly? Because I know back in the day, I heard some people complaining about when they import from eBay into List Perfectly, there was like some quality loss. But I never noticed it personally, but I've actually heard people talk about that. So.
Interesting. So
Good
you're
question.
saying you would so try taking the photos and then uploading them into LP if you're doing it directly.
I would
is
also,
what Brad's saying.
I would also try to do a listing with not putting in LP, just doing directly from your phone to it, just to try to cut. You want to eliminate the issues along the way. So if it's doing it both by uploading it from your phone to LP or from your phone directly to eBay, then you know that it's an issue. It's not an issue with LP, so that eliminates that issue there. It's an issue maybe with your phone or something else. So.
All right, let me put this up. Sarah has been a member for 6 months, and she has given away quite a few memberships in the chat too. She said, thanks to the panel and chat, so worth the money. I appreciate that. I'm glad you think so. If you guys don't know, I have memberships from $1.99 up to $19.99, and we do store reviews, we do live sourcing, we do live shipping. There are a bunch of different things. I also try to make sure my members' questions are answered every live as like a side perk as well. If we're getting to the end and have a ton still left, that is something else I do. So since Sarah used her free thing, I get to use my turtle. Down, 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 down. All right. Julie said, Rod, what service do you use to cross post? I know Kat uses LP, but I'm looking for a service that connects with Whatnot. And I saw the chat answered this as well.
Yeah, I use Vendu. Part of my business is I do sell weekly on Whatnot, and it allows me to cross-list my entire eBay store directly to Whatnot. And their static listing marketplace, I actually do better on there than I do on Mercari and Poshmark combined. So if you send me a message, I can send you a direct link for them if you want, and then you get like a discount on it.
Same.
Yeah, I don't like I wasn't getting the sales on Whatnot static platform when I was doing it, so for me it wasn't like a deciding factor. If you're doing a lot of Whatnot, then it would make sense. Like I use it for the AI, like LP. That's like a big thing for me. The AI generator. I know a lot of people were talking about tech and sports saying, but like for me, it's included in my list perfectly. So there's no point for me to check that out. I think I get like over 1,000 listings a month that are included at no charge. And from what I heard, I think his is like by the listing, like you pay for so many by the listing. I get to play the turtle again. Ha, ha. Thank you, Mary. We didn't have any members lives this week, which means we'll have 2 members lives next week. It'll be live sourcing and live shipping next week. The live store reviews we do the first or second Thursday of the month. So we already did it for this month. That'll be coming up in July. I didn't play the turtle. Let me play the turtle. Da, da, na, na. All right. Cece says, how can you get, and I asked her in the chat, I don't know if she answered, how can you get seller help? I was trying to see if she meant like from a seller to her or she meant like for herself. And I don't know. Cece, if you could answer again, or I don't know, Brad, how you're taking that.
It's probably eBay, because on eBay you can only go through like the seller chat or email. You can't actually for new people, you can't actually call unless you go through all the different levels before getting to it.
That was my thought, and my answer is I cheat because I have like 3 different eBay phone numbers, and I don't think you're supposed to call in, but I figure it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. So, but yeah, the get them to call you back option is probably the best one that I've had to use before.
I just leave a message through Facebook. That's the only way that works for me now.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore on Facebook now, if I'm not mistaken. They changed that, because I used to go through Facebook all the time and get a message on there.
I stopped since they quit giving us.
Yeah. So So
feedback.
what you pretty much have to do is go through the seller chat. You'll get a rep on there to talk and stuff that you have to kind of go through a couple different questions and phases so that you can get to a point where you can just ask to speak to a live rep or have them call you, and then they can call you directly. But you have to kind of go through a bunch of hoops before you get to that point.
Yeah, I can.
I don't ever call them. I just am like whatever and just go.
Whether I call them or whether I do the chat bot thing, I don't even answer the question usually. I just say agent, or type agent until it finally just like, here, we'll let you speak to an agent. I think the system's kind of designed to be a little bit frustrating. Like maybe you just go away. I don't know.
Heidi wants to know if a buyer purchases through eBay International Shipping Program, is there a way to track where it is? A buyer reached out to me asking where it was, and it just shows it's in customs since June 7th.
I think I don't know if there's a way to track it. I always try to be as sympathetic as possible to buyers when they reach out to me. And then I also take the extra step of providing them a link where they can actually contact eBay and maybe get some help on the question, because, once it's out of your hands with the eBay International Shipping Program, that's really as much as you can do with it. So.
Yeah, I don't know any way. I just always make sure it gets to the hub here, and then once it leaves the hub here, I have no control.
So anytime I get in a situation like this, I actually I take a minute of my time and I just send them a message. I explain the process. I'm like, hey, you bought the eBay International Shipping Program. I ship the item domestically here in the States to their shipping hub. eBay ships it internationally for you. So if you have any questions about the track and stuff like that, you can reach out to customer service. And I kind of just go through that, explain the process. Unfortunately, customs can be very difficult. I've had packages stuck in customs for a week. I've had them stuck in customs for 3 months. So it's out of your hand based in that country. So I just refer them to eBay, but explain them the process, because if you don't explain the process, tell them to reach out to eBay, they feel like you're just trying to pass the buck. And by explaining the process and how it works, then they have better understanding of it.
Yeah, I think he covered it. All right. Leticia says, this is to me, I have an Hermes perfume that has a third of perfume in it. Do I need to empty in order to sell it? I'm about to list my first item. So that is a very questionable item, especially for a first item. I would not, if it were me and I had that perfume, I would not empty it because that's a valuable perfume. But I also would not list it on eBay. That is something that you could list on Etsy or Mercari. Amanda that was on with us last week, that's one of her main things she sells is perfumes. So Etsy, Mercari is where I would list that. So I wouldn't dump it out just to sell it on eBay. I would list it somewhere else because I'm sure there's value there. So I would skip that one on eBay. If you are comfortable listing on Posh or Mercari, list it there. And list something else on eBay. Don't do that as your first one because you might get yourself banned off eBay. You could empty it. You can sell the bottle empty, but I would not empty a valuable perfume like that personally. We get this question a lot. I know, Rod, can you put Dave's link in?
It's actually like three different.
You would like to start going live on District. Is there anyone I can contact for help getting started? I've never sold live.
Yeah, just send me a direct message. You can either send me a message on District, send me a message to Picking and Punching on Instagram or Facebook. I can send you the links. I would post in the chat here, but it's like 3 different links. It's actually 4 different links. So he has like starting a show, listing an item, how to ship an item, and then how to something else too, but it's like 4 parts. So I can send you it. ADHD made the little like tutorial videos, and they're very helpful. So,
all right. Marcella says, I just got a message that an item broke on the way. I stated the piece was glued together and priced accordingly and accepted an offer of 10. He wants a partial refund. How do I do that? So all you have to do, I'm going to say I would give him a partial if it did come apart, because you didn't say it was coming in 2 pieces. You can just go to order details and there's a drop down and you can click send refund. I always put other for the reason because I'm scared they're going to slap my hand if I put anything else. And and then you can give them that. So go to order details, and then on that page, click the down arrow, and you can send them a refund. Dinky wants to know, do you ever allow for someone to purchase an item and request shipping months later? I had someone purchase something very expensive and wanted me to ship it 3 months later.
No, I've never had that come up. I've had somebody ask to ship it, like hold it for a week because they were on vacation. And I did go ahead and print the label so it would show up, in the system and everything. The same way, I'm not going to say it. I was about to rip on one of these box companies. They do that. But, and I did hold it for them. I don't like to do it very often, but if somebody asks something, but I think 3 months is a little bit extreme. I'll just forget I had it in 3 months.
I've held something for, it was about 6 weeks. It was actually on my eBay. I actually have that you can pick it up locally because I live in a travel area between Tennessee, Charlotte, and Atlanta, and there's a lot of people that drive through there through 85. So I've had people say, "Hey, listen, I got to drop my daughter off at college in Georgia. Can I just pick it up when I come through?" And I'll hold it, and I'll do that for them. But not 3 months.
I would never hold an item for 3 months to someone, because what happens is if you end up shipping that item out later on, that buyer can say as soon as that item gets shipped out, they can open up a credit card dispute and say, "Hey, I've had this item. I paid for this item 3 months ago, and I haven't received anything." And you even provide them tracking. By the time that dispute probably goes through, that item, they may close the dispute before the item even arrives there. So I would just protect yourself on there. I would actually issue a refund back to the buyer and let them know that, hey, I have no problem shipping out then, but I'm not holding an item for that long. Just do the tracking or anything else. Yeah, it's a tough situation. I'm in a situation right now where a buyer internationally bought something from me and then sent me a message after, asked me to ship it out 10 days later because they're currently on vacation. You also remember your account gets dinged, because there's no tracking uploaded for that. If it's one item, then you're fine, but just remember that.
Yeah, I would not do that. The most I've held was like a week, because you're going to get dinged late shipping. If you don't have a lot of sales, that could really hurt your account. So I would tell them, I'm sorry, I can't ship it that much longer. If it's very expensive, it might take a long time to sell anyways. So I would just tell them, hey, when you're ready for it to be shipped, if it's still available, then, please feel free to purchase. I would just explain to them, like, as a seller on eBay, we have, like, I have 2 days to take care of that. Plus they give you the money for that expensive item. What happens if a storm comes through or a tree falls on your storage or something? Like, now you're responsible for that. Marsha saying I don't have layaway made me think of that, because they're not really layawaying. They're paying for it, but they're not paying you for storage for 3 months.
I would reach out and ask them if there's a different place. Maybe maybe they're moving it and they don't want to be, damaged in the move or something along those lines. Or maybe they can have them repurchase it and have it shipped to a family member or a friend's house or something like that in the process. That would be another option. But you would have to have them repurchase it with that shipping address in there too.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a good alternative. All right, Kit said, "Hi, Kat. I have a question. Do I have to have 10,000 listings to be noticed on eBay?" No, you have to have one. I know several people who have very successful business models with less than 200 items that make more money than I do. Like I was talking about earlier, if you focus on the sell-through rate, and what that means is how many are listed versus how many are sold. You want to see 100 listed, 100 sold, or 10 and 10. You want it to seem equal, because that means they're selling within 3 months. And if you are very, very particular about it and only pick up really popular items, you're going to sell stuff even with like 50 items. I did the store reviews last week, and we had somebody that had, I want to say 500, that had an 80% sell-through rate. But when we did the store review, her sell-through rate was at because she was underpricing. So she was pricing too low, and that's why she was selling so much. So don't shortchange yourself for that. But no, you definitely, like, I don't have 10,000 listings. I have 8,000, but yeah. Look, I'm so popular. Tammy's asking, when do I host my lives? So we do this show every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Today is our 5-year anniversary. And I've only missed 4 Tuesdays in 5 years. And then my members live the first or second Thursday. I do store reviews. Every other Monday is live shipping with myself and Prissy and Dalton if he feels like coming in here. And then every other Wednesday is live sourcing. So that's where I use your zip code. I'll look at auctions in your area and tell you what I would buy. Most of my high dollar buys come from auctions. That's how I find my high dollar stuff. All right. Wolfman wants to know, we're going to let Leroy answer first because he asked him, but then I think the rest of us should answer this too. What's the most expensive item that you have sold? I think I know the answer to this. Leroy, you're first.
No,
He's not even listening to me talk.
I am listening. You said Leroy answered this already. No, you said Leroy answered this already, so I was under the impression that I shut my mouth. It was a piece of electronic hub for an industrial place, like for the sensor bars and everything. I forgot the name of it, but there's a lot of warehouses here, and there's a lot of safety equipment. So it was like some little module thing that I got from a guy that was renting next to me. I didn't look for it. I bought a whole bunch of stuff, and that was one of the items.
Okay, Brad.
Yeah, so sometimes it's not anything special. Mine was I think $960 worth of, it was like doorknobs or door locks or something to a contractor.
Okay. I found a sealed copy of 1986 Castlevania, the Nintendo game, brand new sealed.
Yeah.
I sent that off, got professionally graded. At the time, there's only I think 10 or 12 higher than my grade in the world, and I paid $375 for the item. I got it graded. It cost me about about $500 into that for fees and getting it graded and stuff like that. And I sold it for $8,500.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dang.
Leroy, they're asking what you sold it for. Did you say how much it sold for?
It was $3,500.
Oh,
and
nice.
It was so awesome because it was literally like in around this time during COVID when I wasn't struggling, like people were buying stuff, but like I wasn't able to do the flea market. I wasn't in, and it just came such in clutch time. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's
things work mysterious ways, my friend.
Yeah,
they do. I have had 3 at 3,000. 2 were Judith Lieber purses that I paid $800 a piece for, and the third was a Romero Brito artist proof 36 by 36 inch painting, and that one I paid $500 and it sold for 3,000 plus shipping. And all 3 of mine were on eBay. Rod, they're asking what platform was your sale on?
It was actually a private sale because I was actually going to send it to Golden Auction House or Heritage Auction House, and I won't say who. Put it this way, one of the guys from a grading company actually purchased it from me, so they saw it. I posted up on my social media. That's why it's important to have social media accounts, guys. I posted pictures on my social media account. They contacted me because it was on social media, and I actually didn't have to pay any fees or anything like that. They gave me cash, which was
nice.
Awesome. Yeah, weird showing up to a restaurant and getting $8,500 cash, but I knew who the guy was. I normally would never have done that, meet someone in person for a big deal like that, but I knew who he was because he worked for one of the big grading companies. And we've had conversations in the past. So yeah, that was nice.
All right. Sarah sells smalls, not by the seashore. Gifted 5 memberships, she said, for the 5 years of the podcast. So if you guys came in late, tonight is exactly the 5-year anniversary of my first podcast I did. December is 6 years for me that I have been live. So, or been doing YouTube. December 6 years. So I started the podcast about 6 months into my channel with less than 1,000 subscribers when I started it. So it's been quite the journey. So I'm going to give Sarah the turtle. Here you go.
Subs you now 120,000.
I am almost at 121,000. Yeah.
Wow, that's a big come up. 600 to 121,000 guys. That's impressive, I would say. So that's why we always tell you guys, you never know how close you are to breaking through.
It's one video. Like
it's
when people
video.
it really is. You're one video away. It could be your first one. It could be your 500th one. I don't know what mine was. It was mine was about 2.5 years in. It was my teacup video and a jewelry video that really blew the channel up. And then I think it's important for YouTube content creators to pay attention to what people like. People love my research videos. I continued doing them, and that has continued to help me grow. Those are my most viewed videos, and I love doing them. So it's important to find something you love that the people that watch you love too. Not like if I didn't like doing them, I wouldn't be doing them because it would be like torture. But I love doing them, so it works well. Kidster is asking what the procedure for sell-through rate. This is actually our last question. I'm gonna do a screen share for a minute and then probably let everybody say goodbye since we actually are close to the end and I didn't let them talk at the beginning. So somebody tell me something to search so I can show this.
Search Coach purses.
Okay. And then I need to be able to get specific. So look here, ta-da, you can see my lovely up 67%. So if you search for a Coach purse, there are 260,000 of them listed. And then you go to the sold, completed and sold. This is going to be funny. Hold on. So sold, there are 71,000. So you take 71,000 and divide it by 260,000. Whoops, I did it wrong. It's 27%, which is low. But if you go let's find a specific one. Like I need a name. Mini Jamie. Let's search that. Watch. Coach Mini Jamie. Oh, they misspelled it. Coach Mini Jamie camera bag. If you get more specific, okay. So hold on, let me go back. Then you will know a better, like if you really wanted to get specific, you would say you had the butterfly one, you would search for the color. So there are 684 of those camera bags listed. And why am I echoing? Why did that? It was just 200 and something.
No, you clicked the button, I think. You didn't click solds.
Okay, let me go back.
Yeah. It was 213. I think it was 213.
214. What was it? 684?
Yeah. 214 divided by 684.
Yeah, so that is 31%. So for that specific bag, it's 31%, but overall for Coach, it's 27%. So you want to get more specific. Like I will search for shirt size. Like I'll do that one real quick and then I'll let the guys say bye. So I do a lot of Columbia fishing shirts, right?
Just keep in mind, guys, when she's bringing this up, that's how many of those have sold in the last 90 days. Yeah. So that right. gives you a good thing. So, we'll go down a little bit deeper as she pulls this one up. But just remember that, every night your eBay goes through a 90-day cycle. So that means that for every 684 purse bags are listed, only 214 sold. And
214 are selling. So like if it's a third, right, that's 30%. That to me, that tells me it's going to take an average of 3 cycles to sell, which is 9 months.
Yep.
Now, if it was 684 listed and 684 sold, that would mean that it's 100% and it should sell within 90 days. So Columbia fishing shirts, there are 32,000 listed, and there are, let's see, 10,000 sold. So that's a third again. I already know that. So that would again tell you 9 months, but go put in now XXL. So there's 2,700 of those sold. Let's see if this matches. The Coach one was pretty close on, but let's see if this one is. How many are sold? My brain is 2,700. Okay, let's go back. 11,000, 2,700. Is it going to make me look like a crazy person?
25%.
5%. So it's actually lower for the XXLs than it is for general. But that way, you're getting to see, like, you could down it to color if you wanted to be really specific. You know, put Columbia short sleeve black XL fishing shirt, and you would know way more specific. And I do that with some clothes, especially if I'm paying up. And you should look at that when you're comping too, because some brands and XXL will sell for $5 to $10 more than a large or an extra large. So make sure, that's why, like I say it all the time, but compare apples to apples when you're doing that. So that, and it's hard if you do vintage one-off stuff like me. Like, I can't find that stuff. Like, I'm not going to find it. Vintage linens, I will not be able to find comps. I don't know if it's going to sell in a week or a year. I can search similar items to get an idea, but it's not the same as having like a purse with a name with a color. That you can get pretty darn specific on a sell-through rate. But like the vintage linens, like I like the Kachinas, I'm not going to find the same Kachina, the same artist to be able to compare that. Yeah. And I have some Kachinas that sell in a week, and again, some sell in a year. So if you want to have stuff that sells fast, you need to pick up stuff that you can get accurate comps on, which puts you to stuff that is branded, stuff that has model numbers, you know,
UPC codes,
specific stuff. Yeah, that you can make sure. If you think it's cute, I just sold something last week I thought was really cute. It took 4 years. So what I think is cute doesn't mean it's going to sell. So you need to remember that. And if you like the vintage one-off, you better be in the know with trends, which I am not. I will tell you, I'm not. Or you need to find the stuff you can comp.
So just remember, guys, simple math is for every 10 listed, 3 are selling with that 30%. You know, so that means that every 90-day cycle, 3 more will sell if you're listing 10 every 90 days. And so it may take 270 days for your item to sell. That's why sell-through rate is so important. Also, too, Kat, like, why don't you explain kind of what you look for when you are buying branded items, and not the one-offs and stuff like that? You're looking for a higher sell-through rate now, aren't you?
I want at least 50%, which means it should sell. If it's a 50% sell-through, it should sell within 6 months. So if there's 100 listed, 50 sold, 10 listed, 5 have sold, that item should sell in 6 months. I sold what did I sell? Oh my gosh. I put it on the video. It was a Taylor Swift throw blanket. So we were down in South Florida. We needed a blanket for the Airbnb. Like, there were no throw blankets. The kids were cold. I'm like, let me get something that I could maybe sell anyways. I don't need more throw blankets at home. Looked it up. The sell-through rate was horrible. I just listed it. It sold in a week. So, I mean, that's not like 100% hard facts. You know, you never know. And that one I thought was going to take a long time, took a week. And it was the exact blanket I was comping, did not have a good sell-through rate.
So with that being said, remember one of the first questions we got tonight was, how are your sales doing right now? Are they up? Are they down? You know, based on this time of year, a big portion of that could be related to your sell-through rate, guys. So if you guys need to evaluate your sell-through rate, if your store is selling slow, like I saw Karen just put in the chat, I just listed a Columbia XL, double XL shirt. That doesn't mean it's not going to sell.
My sell-through rate is 12%, and I don't care.
But you also have 8,000 items.
I will make over 150,000 this year.
But you also
because I like what I'm doing.
Yeah, but you also have a lot of items in your store too, compared you're more than a normal person. So even a
Yeah,
small
like somebody
rate,
with 800 items, you'd only be selling 12 every 90 days. For me, it's different. So that's why I always tell people, if I see they have items like me, you need to list more. If you want to sell more, you need to list more, because if you're selling these one-offs that can take a long time to sell, you have to have a lot of them to make money like I do. And I try and impress that, because if you don't have storage, don't copy my business model. I have over 5,000 square feet. I have plenty of room. And we also, though, are doing whatnot to move stuff faster, the fast nickel compared to the slow dime. And I'm putting the like higher value popular stuff is my goal to get. I want my store to go down. I do not want my store to go up. I do not want it to increase. I want it to decrease. So I'm sending out like 55% off on my older items because I want them gone.
Just a public service announcement real fast for all you guys out there. Just remember, we put out all this information, and a lot of people try to mimic what we do on here or what the guests do on here. Take bits and pieces of what we do, because there is something called like information overload, where you guys try to do all kind of different things and really set your store off the wrong path. So keep doing what you're doing, but take little pieces of what we do, incorporate that in your business, see what works and what doesn't work. Because like Kat said, what works for her, completely different business model than me or Brad or Leroy here, so just take bits and pieces what we do.
Yeah. And I can give you an example of that. So we kind of specialize in Playmobil. We sell everything, but 67% of our sales are Playmobil. And so if you just looked at Playmobil, that a lot of people don't have the sell-through rate on it that we have. And I think that is because nobody really knows exactly what eBay's algorithm is, but I think eBay sends us more traffic because we convert sales more on what we sell. So,
and mine's low because all of you go look at my store. I have 10,000 followers. My conversion rate is horrible.
But Brad,
we do a lot of. Yeah, go ahead.
As I say, with what you're saying though too, is because you're so niched down, you're considering, if you go to your store, you're considered an expert, because you have all kind of different accessories, you have lots, you have individual items in there. So I would trust you to go there to buy vintage toys compared to just go and buy someone who had an everything store, or say someone had a camera store that had 100 cameras in there. I'm going to say that a camera expert, because they have camera bags, accessories, the lens in there. So I know they can answer my question. They know what they're listening, they're talking about. I'm going to go there and buy there because they're probably have a higher sell-through rate, because you can tell they're an expert and their store is set up that way. So you guys also have to remember that too.
Yeah. And so the way that practically plays out is if me and someone else had the same exact item, my sell-through rate on that item, if it's Playmobil, is going to be probably higher than the other person. So if you have my model, it could be one way, and if you have somebody else's model, it could be another. So.
Hello, Dalton. All right, I'm going to make Brad big and then Leroy big and let them tell you guys bye, and then Rod and myself will as well. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Here is Brad.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on the anniversary show, Kat. I appreciate it so much. If you want to find me, Marsha's going to put the links in there for Instagram and probably eBay or whatever. And I don't have any videos as of yet, but they are coming. So if you want to pre-subscribe to the YouTube channel, cool. I think I have something to offer there, and we'll be doing so shortly.
Perfect. Here's Leroy.
Oh, it's my turn. Hi. The easiest way to find me or see me is on the Reseller Information Network. I'm there every Tuesday from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. So I can be found there. Some other channels as well. And these guys were right. Can you take me off big screen real quick?
I guess I could.
But they were right. Like they were saying, don't try to, because I do tools. I've been doing tools for 20 years. So if you like, and sometimes I feel bad because some of you guys are messaging me, hey, what about this tool? What about this? And it's like, I feel bad because it's like, no, that's not the one. But like most of the time, it's never the one because I have so much knowledge in it. But I don't comp it. It's just stuff that I've known over the years and like how to group things together. So I might get 8 things that are $5 a piece, but if I put 8 of them together and drop it down to $4 a piece, then they sell right away. So
Can I say one more thing? Because I totally forgot this. Chris would be upset if we didn't mention that we are on his show on Buck Mountain Barnes channel. On Buck Mountain Barnes channel on Thursday night, we do a live with Chris on his Picking and Grinning show. It's his show, but we're on it, Leroy and I. And then we also do a thing with he and we do a Tuesday afternoon like working hangout, and it's on the Reseller Therapy is the name of the YouTube channel, and that's Corey and Chris's channel. So we wind up there all the time too. So I got it, Chris. Don't be upset. I shouted you out.
I dropped a new video yesterday on my Picking and Punching Cards channel. Oh, also go to dibdick.com. I'm gonna put a link down in the description down below here. There is the combo picker listed on an complete inbox NES system. Okay, they are going to give it away. All you have to do is go on there, place an offer for $1, free shipping, everything else. I put a link down in the description, guys. Go do that. They're going to give it away tomorrow. So go place your $1 offer, get a free Nintendo in the box. It's worth a couple $100. I'll have my pick and punching video out tomorrow, and then I will be live tomorrow night on Dibit Cards. I will be doing a football break. If you guys are football fans, all the teams are listed on there right now. You guys can go bid in your favorite teams. There's teams as cheap as $1. So we'll be breaking a bunch of football cards tomorrow night, and then I'm also doing non-sport breaks on Monday nights, which has been a lot of fun. Next week we'll be ripping like Marvel, X-File cards, some wrestling, some other stuff. So come hang out.
Kevin had to get a word in there. I just dropped my Whatnot link. That is for tomorrow. Tons of really good sterling silver, $5 starts, which is less than I paid for the majority of it. Plenty of room for profit. That will be Shannon. That is not me doing the sale. So definitely go bookmark that. Join her tomorrow. We will also be doing a sale Thursday night. That one's not scheduled yet. I will have videos out on both channels, hopefully tomorrow for you guys. Maybe me and Dalton are going to the Tampa Bay Rays game tomorrow night, so I might be over ambitioning there. So I appreciate you guys. Brad, Leroy, thank you so much. Rod, thank you for coming and staying, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much.